Just ahead on CTV News.
The president's weekend announcement shocks the country. I'm Mariah Jalad. We hear what county voters have to say coming up on CTV News.
Coming up on CTV News, we'll tell you what's next for Kamala Harris after President Joe Biden ended his re-election bid.
Plus, we sit down with one of the special election candidates. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for July 22nd. I'm Katara Jones.
And I'm Byron Scott. Thank you for joining us. Well, President Joe Biden withdraws from the 2024 presidential race, shocking the Democratic Party and leaving it without a nominee just months before the election. Mariah Jalad has more on that story.
President Joe Biden will not seek re-election this year, dropping out in an unprecedented announcement on Sunday. This comes less than a month after Biden's disastrous debate performance against Donald Trump that raised concerns about his age and mental and physical fitness. For the last week, Biden has been isolating with COVID, and in that time, the voices asking him to step down only got louder. Voters around the county are supportive of the president's decision.
I think it was a good decision. Came a little late. I wish it came a little bit earlier, but I'm glad he did it.
He's done a great job of the traumatic circumstances in the past with the pandemic and everything, and of course replacing Donald Trump at the time. And I wish it hasn't happened at this point of the campaign, but you know, things happen for a reason.
I feel like he wasn't, not that he wasn't properly equipped, but a lot of people were doubting him, and I feel like it was kind of the best decision, I guess, all around.
I do believe that he did an excellent job. I would love to see him to continue working in government. If that's what he chooses to do, I have to respect his decision.
The decision marks an end to Biden's 52-year career in U.S. politics. In 1973, he became a U.S. Senator for Delaware, where he served on the Judiciary and Foreign Relations Committees. In 2008, Biden became the vice president to the country's first African-American president, Barack Obama. And in 2020, Biden defeated incumbent President Trump and became the nation's 46th president. According to Biden's letter to the country, his decision to step away from the election was in the best interest of the Democratic Party. From New Carrollton, Mariah Jalad, CTV News.
Thank you, Mariah, for that report. Now, shortly after President Joe Biden ended his re-election bid, he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to toss her hat in the ring as the Democratic candidate for president. CTV's Michaela Newton has more.
Kamala Harris could become the first black woman and the first person of South Asian descent to head a major party's presidential ticket if Democrats nominate her. Vice President Kamala Harris is being thrust into the spotlight suddenly to succeed President Joe Biden as a candidate for president. According to the Associated Press, Vice President Harris spoke out on the endorsement, saying, quote, "I'm honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intentions is to earn and win this nomination. Over the past year, I have traveled across the country talking with Americans about the clear choice in this momentous election. And that is what I will continue to do in the days and weeks ahead." I spoke with people near the White House to hear their reactions to President Joe Biden endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris.
Everybody has to shift their thinking. Seems like the right choice. I don't really know anyone who's more qualified.
I hope she will win this, yes, because it also have influence on the rest of the world.
Maryland officials, including Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks, saying in part, quote, "She will provide a clear and stark contrast to the regressive vision Donald Trump has for this country. She will make this race about the future and the kind of country our children deserve to inherit. Each and every one of us deserves that kind of leader." And Democrats must now navigate a new change before they meet in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention on August 19th to formalize a new ticket. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Michaela Newton for CTV News.
Thank you, Michaela. Well, companies are still struggling to get things back to normal following that worldwide tech outage. Delta Airlines canceling more than 600 flights today as fallout from the global incident extended into day 4. Elsewhere, all Maryland courts, offices, and facilities have reopened, and officials in Prince George's County say the county systems are back up and running. A flawed software update from CrowdStrike on Friday caused computer outages around the globe.
A new report shows that Maryland added 5,600 new jobs in June. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, 3,900 jobs came from the private sector. Maryland's job growth rate in June doubled the national rate. Reports also indicate that Maryland's labor force participation rate in June is above the national average at 62.6%. Meantime, the state's unemployment rate came in at 2.8% last month.
M&T Bank teams up with the county's Economic Development Corporation for a small business competition. It's called the Multicultural Small Business Lab. 3 winners were awarded a total of $8,000 following a 7-week course and pitch competition, which was held at the College Park Aviation Museum. They include Clean Decisions, a government contractor that employs formerly incarcerated individuals, Phipps Construction, which is women-owned and environmentally friendly. The third company is Lanita's Properties, a property management company.
The CDC reports that Maryland has the second highest number of listeria cases. The agency says 6 people in the state have gotten sick from the bacterial infection. According to the CDC, people who have contracted listeria have reported eating sliced meat from a deli counter, such as turkey or liverwurst. A total of 28 people nationwide have been infected by listeria, and 2 people have died. The state with the highest listeria cases is New York.
The Prince George's County Department of Family Services is teaming up with George Washington University to create a county-wide aging needs assessment. The county is launching this assessment as part of its mission to enhance the quality of life for seniors in the county. The assessment will feature surveys, focus groups, and interviews. The findings will be used to develop targeted programs and initiatives.
The city of Mount Rainier is the recipient of 2 grants from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. The city will receive about $300,000 for the Mount Rainier Mural Arts Project. This is all a part of a larger $16.2 million grant reward program from the department. Now, the town of Cheverly and the city of College Park also received grants from this program.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Katara Jones. Still to come, our political analyst John Ronquillo is here to talk about the shakeup and the race for the White House. Stay tuned.
We hear the stories of people forced to abandon their home. The stories of people whose dreams have been swept away, or their lives left hanging by a thread. Or whose worlds have been blasted apart. Although the stories repeat themselves, each person's experience is unique as they are. And whether it's care or community that people need, we're here to help them live a new chapter, to embrace what makes them unique, be a lifeline to the most vulnerable.
Out! Out! Everybody out! Come on!
Good job. Under 2 minutes.
Keep your loved ones safe from home fires. Practice a 2-minute drill until it's part of your routine. And test your smoke alarms monthly.
In America, millions of families are facing hunger.
After rent and power, I can get groceries. It's sad to say food comes last. Anna from Texas. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Together, we can end hunger Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. After intense pressure from his own party, President Biden has ended his campaign for a second term in the White House, leaving Democrats scrambling for a candidate. Shortly after Biden made his announcement, he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to run in his place.
Harris said she would seek the nomination, adding, "Together we will fight and together we will win." But so much is up in the air with the Democratic National Convention looming in just a few short weeks and the Democratic Party searching for a candidate that can beat Donald Trump. Joining us in the studio is the director of the University of Maryland School of Public Policy, John Waquillo. Sir, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Katera. Good to be here.
So, Biden is out, Kamala Harris is in. Were you surprised at all by that big announcement?
I think a lot of us were surprised, right? It was a Sunday, otherwise kind of sleepy and slow, but it was certainly something to jolt, our news cycle for us to talk about a lot of things today. I think it's adding a lot of excitement for people, but I think other people are sort of white-knuckling whatever they can hold on to. Big news, we're still digesting, and there's still a lot to process with this decision, and still a lot for us to ensure that Kamala Harris is, in fact, going to be the Democratic nominee.
So the endorsements are rolling in, one from a lot from Wes Moore, other big names as well, a lot of money pouring in as well. What are you looking for next?
I think that's a clear sign that people are really trying to focus on unity around this potential nominee. We know that with a recent and unfortunate assassination attempt on former President Trump, going into the Republican National Convention, we were also told that there was going to be some sort of message around unity, and that's not exactly what I got. And so following up on that with this announcement, a lot of that thunder has been stolen, in my opinion. We now have a potential candidate in Vice President Harris who is younger, vibrant, ready to carry on the proverbial torch that President Biden has, trying to officially pass to her. And yes, these endorsements are going to come through because people want to rally around somebody, given the time frame that we're in for this to happen.
And Black women continue to be a key electorate. What does Harris need to do to capture those Black female voters?
I think she's got everything it takes to mobilize one of the most important voting blocs in this country. It's a voting bloc that propelled President Biden into the White House. It's a voting bloc that has propelled a lot of people into their current offices. And we are seeing a major moment, or rather, I would like to say momentum for Black women in this country to hold elected office. We're seeing it here in Maryland. We're going to see it at the national stage, I believe. And so I think that there is an energy saying, not only is it time, it's past time.
How will this alter the Trump campaign, or will it alter his campaign?
I think that they had initially started to prepare in the event that something should happen, right? And so I think that, we've all focused on this debate for so long in terms of President Biden's shaky performance, let's say. It could have been a very forgettable flash in the pan moment, but, with all these people sort of coming out of the woodwork saying, it's time to hang it up, Joe. It's not necessarily a vote of no confidence. Rather, I think it was a vote of confidence that he would do the right thing by standing down. So I do think that the Trump campaign is a little nervous about how they are going to handle a former prosecutor, a former Attorney General of California, a former state senator who we have seen in hearings grill people on the other side of the dais, knowing that she's tough. She's tested. She's been the number 2 for over 3 years now. And she's ready to go. So I think that they are adjusting, maybe even scrambling a bit to ensure that they are ready to face who she is and who her eventual vice presidential nominee will be.
Okay.
And what would it mean for the Harris campaign if, for some reason, Republicans like former Congressman Liz Cheney or even former President George W. Bush endorsed her?
I think it would be quite a remarkable thing to happen in American politics. We have seen things like that happen in the past. Our own former Lieutenant Governor Michael Steele has endorsed President Biden in the past as well, realizing that there are moments where a country does need to come ahead of party. President Biden has referenced his need to put country before anything else, before himself. He has also referenced the party, and I think in terms of organizations, you have to realize that sometimes it's better to focus on the collective rather than the self, and that's what he's doing here.
So the Democratic Convention coming up soon in Chicago, most people are looking for unity. What are you looking for on those few days it's going to be happening?
I think we're trying to articulate and figure out what it is that's going to happen. You know, the DNC has a set of rules. We're not entirely clear in terms of what's going to happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility for somebody else to step up and say, you know, Vice President Harris is a good person, she's capable, but I want to offer somebody an alternative. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. Because
Joe Manchin teased that for a bit.
He teased that, and he very quickly stepped down. It
Right.
was not his moment. It was time for him to sit down. If you're going to commit to the bit, you don't leave the Democratic Party to become an independent and then go back to the party thinking that you're offering an alternative. It just doesn't seem viable to me.
And if you were part of the Harris team, how would you advise her when it comes to picking maybe a possible vice presidential pick?
You know, people are touting a lot of names, a lot of governors who have gone into office somewhat recently, like Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania.
Westmore.
Westmore would be great. We would hate to lose him in the governor's office, I think, but you know, he has definitely proven that he has the chops to lead. He's been great in his short time in office thus far. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, who is finishing his second term and is termed out. A lot of names, but you know, I believe that the Democratic Party has a very deep bench when it comes to leadership. I don't want to say that she can't lose, but I think that the opportunity to pick somebody who can truly add to the ticket is there, and I believe that she will seize the moment when the time is right.
And someone young too.
I think it's possible. You know, the thing is she's sort of kind of in the middle of the generations between Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. You know, people are trying to make these comparisons. And so I will be curious to see how that happens, but I do think, you know, age has already played a factor in this decision, and it will continue as she selects a running mate.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir, so much.
Thank you.
And still to come on CTV News.
We're joined by at-large candidate Jonathan White. Don't move.
I'll see y'all. Got some batteries and 2 flashlights.
What's up, champ?
Flashlights, cool.
Feel like you get taller every time I see you. Congratulations,
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
You know it's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Hi. I'm your retirement fear. But don't be scared. You're still in pre-retirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. Here, this is pretirement.org.
Retirement savings options? Potential tax breaks.
Ooh,
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
you got this.
Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan.
The special election for the County Council's at-large seat is less than 2 weeks away. In the coming days, CTV will introduce you to each of those candidates. Joining us in the studio today is Jonathan White. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You and I talked a few years ago. Make the case for Jonathan White at-large seat. Why should voters vote for you?
The number one reason why is because I care. We can't continue to have these issues with crime, with our schools, continue to go on. I've served my country for 20 years in the federal government for an additional 10. The reason why the people should vote for me is because service before self. That's what I bring to the county.
But you are a Republican in a heavily Democratic area. How are you going to make traction with the voters? What is your plan to make traction to convince them that you are the person for the job?
A lot of people know me in this area. They know me as a stand-up guy, and I think the voters want change. They want somebody that's going to be there for them and that has integrity and is transparent. That's what from the people I interview. That's what they want. That's what they want.
So, Mr. White, you are vying against 12 others in the race right now. How do you overcome the issue of name recognition? You have Jolene Ivey, Tim Adams. How do you overcome that?
Well, if you look at Prince George's County right now, if you look at the city of Bowie and look at Jolene Ivey's districts, crime is up, and I think people want change. Our police need every resource possible to fight crime. With the budget, the budget shortfalls, they're going to have less people. Less people on the streets to fight crime. So my goal is to give them every resource possible to fight crime and react to crime quickly.
So in terms of this budget shortfall that we've experienced this past year, how will you overcome that in terms of hiring enough police officers and firefighters for that matter?
We need to look at what we do, look at the things we're doing good and look at the things we're doing bad. My suggestion is take the playbook from Loudoun County. They utilize data centers to bring additional income, additional money to the county. And if we can utilize that, their playbook, I think should help the county out a whole lot.
In your statement, you write about a sustainable future for the county. How will you do that in Prince George's, create this sustainable future?
First, if you ever seen the movie Field of Dreams? Mm-hmm. If you build it, they will come. If we fight crime, improve infrastructure, we will build a sustainable future.
Talk about with education. You talk about supporting education. You ran at one point for the school board. What's your plan for education here in the county?
Like I said, the Maryland plan, it's already out there. We just need to make sure we continue to provide resources for those 5 pillars of the Maryland plan.
And how will you go about that? Because obviously the county and Baltimore had the biggest payout in terms of how much they had to bring to the table. How will you overcome that?
Okay, we need to look at what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong and fix what we're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. Run an audit of where we're spending money and move on from there.
So how will the county look different with Jonathan White as an at-large member?
As an at-large member, like I said, service before self. I will be there for you. I'll answer your questions and I'll make sure the job gets done and I will follow up if needed.
Now, you were in the Air Force. That was your career?
Air Force.
What will you bring to the table that you learned in the Air Force?
Discipline, honesty, and integrity. Doing the right thing at the right time when no one's looking.
Again, let me go back to public safety. I know you need more police officers. At least that's what the department says. How will you make sure the funds are there for that? How can you impact that as just one member of the council?
For instance, one of the biggest problems in this area is carjacking. The Flock safety camera system, it costs about $2,500 per camera and $250 initiation fee. We spent $1.3 million on this election right now, this special election. I think we can spend another $25,000 on some license plate cameras in order to reduce crime and carjackings in this area.
So what will you do in the area of economic development?
Got data centers. We have to bring the data centers here. That's the only plan. We can't continue to depend on property tax to pay for things. We have to bring the data centers here.
Talk about affordable housing. Is that an issue for you here in the county?
Affordable housing, it's a big issue. The developers are coming in and they're raising the property taxes and pushing out the original residents. We're going to have to change from under my plan, and what I suggest, we're going to have to increase the impact fees for these developers.
Also, another big issue in the county that you had not mentioned yet was health care, access to health care for people. How will you guarantee that? Or expand that area?
Like I said, the county always has resources. I just got to make sure that the people are aware of the resources and make sure that they are aware, like I say, are aware of the resources and have access to those resources. Okay,
once again, I know this is going to be roughly a 6-minute interview. Talk about, again, why the voters ought to vote for Jonathan White. Make your case. Because, there are at least a dozen others who are voting, who are going to be running for the office.
Like I said, I'm a person that cares about this community. Like I said, there's 13 people running. Should be 113 people running for this community. Like I said, this community is one of the best communities in the nation. for African Americans. And like I said, these problems we have now, we shouldn't be having. Like I said, I want to be the part of the solution to fix that.
Okay, Jonathan White, at-large member, all the best.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, well, make sure to tune in tomorrow as we introduce another candidate, Tamara Davis Brown.
4, 3. Come on CTV News, we have our Monday sports page, and we have details on a Prince George's County native leading his team to victory. Stay tuned.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. Every day he's hungry for something. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then it kind of starts to work itself out.
The death of George Floyd, who died in police custody Monday night.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation. It's going to take more than just us, you know, as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to help us make a change, because it just can't be us.
The Washington Nationals swept the Cincinnati Reds in a 3-game series this weekend, thanks to rookie James Wood going 0-4 at bat in Saturday's victory. Rookie James hit the game-winning 3-1 homer on Sunday to win the game 5-2. The Nationals have won 5 of their last 6 games, and they're looking to keep their hot streak going as they face the San Diego Padres tomorrow.
The Washington Wizards defeated the Milwaukee Bucks 91-79 in their final summer league game. 4 players scored double digits, including Taylor Funk, who led the way with 29 points and 8 threes. Carlton Carrington, who scored 12 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, and had 5 assists.
Annapolis Marlboro native Jameer Young also led his team to victory. He led the Denver Nuggets to a 91-82 win in their final summer league game.
He scored 21 points and had 5 assists. He also hit a 3 with 1 minute left in the game to steal the victory. How awesome for him. And let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight we are expecting 70% chance of rain and thunderstorms. Tuesday, those storms are sticking around. Expect a high of 90 degrees.
More rain on the horizon on Wednesday with a high of 87 and a low of 74. Thursday, keep those galoshes close. We're looking at a high of 87, but with storms lingering throughout the area.
And now for a look at our 3-day weather forecast this Wednesday. Take a break from the rain and visit the Bowie Ice Arena for free ice skating.
This session runs from 12 to 1:30. Skate rental not included. More information, contact 301-809-3090.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
See you tomorrow. Good night.